Welcome to Storytime at the Roo Bus, a weekly podcast where we talk about all things Bonnaroo. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Sharla.
Sharla, how busy have you been lately?
Been really busy.
Yeah, me too. We skipped a week or two of the podcast for a little bit there because, full disclosure, Sharla started a new job and I kind of sort of am doing a couple of different things. So me and her have both been swamped.
Crazy busy.
Yeah, we traveled a little bit last weekend before last. We talked about that in our bonus episode where we saw St. Paul and the Broken Bones. That was our first show in well over a year, I think, right?
More than a year, yeah.
First real show. We've seen some local Huntsville bands at small, socially distanced things in the past year, but nothing to that scale with like a real band that's played real festivals before.
First major concert, yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. But it's nice to get back into the swing of things. I think we're jumping back into Roo Bus projects. You've seen me out there putting some touch-up paint on the bus today before it started raining anyway.
Yes, the bus is getting fixed up for the 2021 Bonnaroo and some other local events that we're going to take it to.
Yeah, it's looking really good. For anybody that's into schooly stuff like this, I was able to get some glossy touch-up paint from Lowe's. They were able to match the color pretty well. I put that on there, and then I take some clear coat that you can get in a spray can, and it has it looking pretty sharp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's nothing perfect. It's an art bus, so there's always things evolving and changing and such.
Right, it's purposely supposed to be an art bus, an art project, so it's always going to be in progress. Everyone's supposed to sign it. It's always going to have something different on it.
I'll tell you one thing that I did. I don't care talking about this. I peeled off a bass nectar sticker and I painted over the little outline that was there. I was like, oh, yeah. This has to go. Yeah. I guess if you pay attention to Festival World News, you know why I did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is no longer on the bus. Been doing a couple other little things, but it's looking good. We will have it out, of course, in the general admission RV section when Bonnaroo rolls around. So please come and see us. We've got it looking really good. Come sit down. We'll have a chair saved for you. Come sit down and hang out with us.
It looks great.
Yeah.
So before we get into this week's episode, we want to thank our Patreons. We've got Chloe and Sean McCarthy.
Yeah, Chloe is just the sweetest, and Sean has been a big supporter of us for a long time. So thanks to our first two Patreons. And if you missed our little news about that, we have started Patreon, but the vast majority of it will be donated to the Bonnaroo Works Fund. We love everything that they're doing, so we wanted to start this to kind of keep me and Sharla busy with the podcast, but also make a difference with them too. 80% goes to the Bonnaroo Works Fund. The remaining 20% just helps pay the bandwidth bill for this podcast. And if there's any left over, I'll just put it right back into the Bonnaroo Works Fund as well.
Right. The purpose of the Patreon is to go to the Works Fund, number one, and then number two, to actually pay to keep the podcast running.
Yeah.
It costs money to actually put it online.
Yeah, and I don't mind because it's a fun hobby project for me, and we are able to make friends through it and such. But just putting a little dent doesn't hurt. Yeah. And for our Patreons, those who have signed up, you get a shout out like you just did. And if you go a tier or two higher, you get an invite to a Patreon-only piece of content. I think we'll do next week, Sharla. And the top one, which Sean actually contributed to, we will have a invite-only VIP event at the bus at Bonnaroo.
Yes.
No specific plans on that just yet, but we will give you at least a month's heads up before Labor Day weekend, so you'll know when and where. It'll be kind of a secret for our Patreons.
Yes, it's going to be fun.
You're looking at me skeptically like, oh gosh, what does he have planned at the bus?
No, I'm pretty sure I already know what it is.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it to you. Mm-hmm. All right, so we've been talking a little bit about prepping for Bonnaroo, and that's kind of what we wanted to talk about with this episode. The past couple of months, since we knew that Roo 21 is a sure thing, I have seen so many people cropping up on the Reddits and the loopholes and such that are coming to not only their first Bonnaroo, but their first festival. And man, I can't imagine being thrown into a deeper end of the pool if this is your first experience for something like this.
Yes, absolutely. If this is your first festival at all, or let me back up. If this is your first concert, aka Brooklyn.
Yeah, her first concert was her first Bonnaroo in like what, 17, 18, whatever it was. Yeah.
This is definitely the deep end of the pool.
Yeah. But that's
You're
good
jumping
thing.
Off.
Yeah, that really is a good thing.
And it's an Olympic-sized pool.
And trust us, you already know how to swim. But part of what we wanted to do with this episode is kind of prep you. We did an FAQ episode about a month or so ago now where we looked over the questions that we were seeing. But Sharla and I wanted to take a step back and kind of give our advice for things about like what to bring, what not to bring, and kind of give you an idea of what to expect each day of Bonnaroo. Each day is a little different. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Sharla, I wanted to ask you first. Can you remember your experience going to your first Bonnaroo? How was it?
My first Bonnaroo was in 2013, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing.
In fact, I had to talk you into it.
You absolutely did, and I've told that story so many times, so I won't repeat that. But just to say, I had no idea what I was doing. We didn't get there until Thursday, and we left early on Sunday because we just didn't know.
Yeah. So you mean we got there Thursday, and then we left that year before Tom Petty played, which we're still kicking ourselves about. Yeah, that was dumb. We didn't know any better at the time.
No.
Yeah. How well prepared do you think we were for that first Bonnaroo? This was before the bus and before we had an RV that we took for a few years. So we were in a fairly big tent, but still a tent.
I would say like a 6 out of 10.
We were prepared 6 out of 10?
Yeah.
I over-prepared.
Yeah, we over-prepared.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But something dumb I did, I thought that I could construct this structure made of PVC pipe that I was going to put a tarp over and put over our tent.
He tried to build his own canopy.
It was dumb. I should have just shelled out the like $80 for a canopy, which, no, I would have had to get a bigger one because our tent was massive. Like, it was way bigger than what we needed.
We brought a tent that was way, way, way too big. It was like a 10-person tent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we should have brought like a 2-person small tent because that would have been so much easier to put up. We spent like 3 hours trying to construct this tent.
Yeah.
The person that parked next to us literally crammed 6 people into the same exact tent that we had.
It was really unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
We brought way too much, and it was strewn all over that tent. We really learned our lessons that first year. And, like I said, that's kind of what we were going to talk about this time. So following that, let's talk about like what we recommend people to bring and also what not to bring. We'll get to that in a moment. But what do you think are the absolute necessities that you need to bring with you?
I would definitely say don't just throw a bunch of clothes into a bag and think, oh, I'll figure it out when I get there.
Yeah, that's a dumb idea.
Plan your clothes out for each day. And it doesn't matter if you're going to do an outfit or if you're just going to do comfortable clothes or whatever. Plan what you're going to wear for each day. And someone posted this tip on Reddit like years ago, and it has helped me tremendously. Put each outfit for each day or whatever you're going to wear for each day in a Ziploc bag. And then that's your clothes for each day. And then when you're finished wearing that, just put that back in the bag and put it back in your suitcase or your duffel bag or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then that's organization top tier right there.
So I don't know if this advice would apply as much to girls. You tell me if it does. But for guys out there, bring a different pair of underwear for each day. It's just going to be swampy out there, and you know what that means. So, bring a new one for every day.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. When you put your clothes for each day in your little baggie, put your underwear in there, your bra in there, everything you're going to wear for that day, put it in the bag and put it in your suitcase. Mm-hmm. And that way you're just good to go each day, and that helps you stay organized. And so that way you're not just throwing a whole bunch of clothes in a bag and then trying to figure it out each day and taking time and yada, yada.
Yeah. So let's talk about food a little bit. This is something that I feel that we have changed up as the years have gone on. The first year that we came in 2013, I thought that I needed to bring a little miniature grill to cook like a steak at our truck.
We tried to bring steaks.
It seemed like a good idea at the time, but in practice it just did not work at all. And I learned my lesson. In the couple of years after that, when our buddy Aaron would come with us, we would bring a little grill and try to cook stuff. I mean, it worked. You can cook stuff. But it's just brutal. When it's like 90-something degrees and you're next to a grill trying to cook like hamburgers or hot dogs or whatever, it's just, man, it's not worth it. It's too much work. It's overbearingly hot. Out there in the general admission camps, there are no trees or anything like that. So you were in the full view of the sun. It's not a pleasant experience.
Now, we did in 2013. We were parked next to someone from Louisiana that he was a professional cook.
Yeah.
And they did make this like chicken on a stick stuff that was so good. He gave us one, and it was just amazing.
He knew
what he was doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you can't cook at your campsite, but honestly, and this is just in my opinion and in my experience, I find it to be so much easier and so much more convenient to just save up the cash and just eat food from the vendors.
Now, I feel like the amount that you're going to pay for food from the vendors isn't going to be that much different from stuff that you would bring in if you were thinking that you were going to cook for yourself the whole time.
Right, because once you go to the grocery store and buy all the food and buy all the supplies and everything, it's not going to be that much of a difference.
Yeah.
But just the sheer cleanup and the work and the preparation and buying the ice every day.
Not worth it.
To me, it's so much work out in the campsite to cook your own food. And so you're not going to save that much money, just the time and effort. To me, it's just so much more convenient to just buy food from the vendors.
Think about all the stuff that you would have to get from Walmart or wherever. Like if you're going to cook, you're going to have to get charcoal. You're going to have to get lighter fluid, probably tinfoil. You're probably going to want some paper plates. It adds up. You're probably going to spend more if you try to cook at your own campsite,
very
honestly.
Well. You could very well spend more.
I think in most cases that would be the case. The food inside Cinru and at each of the plazas is not that expensive. I mean, it is a little higher because it is a festival, but it's not like ridiculous. Like, how much is a slice of spicy pie? Is it like $6? It's
like $7.
Yeah,
I think.
And they're humongous. 7. They're bigger than your head.
Yeah.
And I want to say that like a good gourmet dinner that you can get,
it's like 10.
Maybe at most 15.
Yeah.
Which if you go to a nice restaurant and that stuff is as good as it would be from a nice restaurant, that's how much you would pay. It's worth it. The vendors are no joke. They're really good.
But I do suggest definitely bringing snack items.
Yes.
I'm not saying don't bring any food. Definitely bring snack items. And that's what we do personally. Mm-hmm. Is we just bring snack items that we can snack on throughout the day, and then we get, like our main food, like our main dinners and stuff inside Cinru.
Yeah.
Or from the vendors, whatever. We bring things like tuna packs.
Fruit bars.
A
lot of Gatorade.
Lots of Gatorades. Yeah. Or I don't bring Gatorades.
I like the Gatorade.
I bring those like packs, those like liquid IV packs or whatever.
I haven't seen that.
No, I know what I'm talking about. That's a brand name. Liquid IV is a brand name, but I buy the generic ones.
Oh, is it like that?
Electrolyte packs. Electrolyte powder packs.
It's that powdery stuff that you put inside your water bottle, right?
Electrolyte powder packs.
Okay.
And you can get them on Amazon, or you can buy them in a grocery store, whatever. And I buy the generic ones. It's like Pedialyte packs.
Oh, yeah. Now I know what you're talking about.
And anyways, electrolyte powder packs. And I put those in my waters. And those are really good. And I just put them in my water bottles to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
And I just carry them around like in my pouch that I take in Cinru.
Now, that's clever because, like, if you have some of those and you bring it in, you can go fill up your water bottle from those, like, big mushroom fountain things.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can just put that in there, shake it up, and you've got basically a Gatorade.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
But as far as snacks, I bring tuna packs, jerky. I bring Pringles cans, things that keep shelf ready.
Granola bars,
anything like that keeps shelf ready.
I like to get the stuff that
doesn't go bad in the heat.
I like to get the stuff that's individually wrapped because, like, you think like, oh, we'll make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's going to get everywhere and it's going to make a big mess.
No, actually, I make peanut butter tortillas, like they do. Like astronauts do.
Yeah.
Because there's no crumbs with that.
Ooh.
And it doesn't get everywhere. So peanut butter tortillas is something that I like to make at my campsite.
I remember you giving me some of those. Those are good.
Yep.
Now, something that I will warn everybody not to bring is glass stuff. Usually this is pretty blatant in the instructions that you'll get from Bonnaroo before you arrive, but I think a lot of people miss it, so it bears repeating here. Don't bring any glass stuff, like glass bottles for drinks, even like a glass bottle for like ketchup.
One time Daniel had to throw away a whole thing of barbecue sauce.
Yeah, and that sucked. If you know me, you know how I feel about barbecue sauce. So when you do get a couple of things from Walmart or wherever that you're going to bring in, make sure that you get it in the plastic bottles. It'll just make it easier. There will be somebody that will come and probably look through your stuff when you come into the gate. We'll get to that in a minute. Just make sure that you don't have like knives or anything that would just potentially cause a problem. Like you don't want glass because it can break, and a lot of people walk around barefoot, and that would just be a bad deal for everybody.
So you mentioned the entry. Do you want to talk about what to expect each day?
Yeah, so let's get into that. So what we're going to do is kind of go through each day and what that day of Bonnaroo might look like. And to be honest, this year will be a little bit different. I don't think the COVID restrictions are going to be hugely impactful, but it is going to be different because people are going to start coming in on Tuesday this year.
Right. And I keep seeing a lot of questions about, what's happening on Tuesday? And I see this a lot from first timers. Nobody knows.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't really know if the plazas are going to be open or if they're going to be having some type of programming on Tuesday. I kind of suspect that Tuesday is just going to be like, all right, y'all are here. Have fun in the field, meeting friends and stuff. I don't think there's going to be anything like really official happening, but there will be a lot of Bonnaroovians out in a big field on the farm. So a lot of unofficial stuff will probably be happening. We won't be able to get there on Tuesday. We're going to roll in around lunchtime on Wednesday. I do think Wednesday is going to be a way bigger deal. I expect that some of the campground stuff from a Bonnaroo official capacity will be open in the plazas. I think they'll probably be throwing a party or two, just like a welcoming ceremony type deal or whatever. And of course, we're going to be doing our thing. We'll have more information on that later. Yeah. But I think Tuesday, it's going to be a little dry. But Wednesday, I think things will really start to get going. Now, for first timers, keep in mind on Wednesday, Centeroo won't be open yet. That could change. I really doubt it.
Centeroo usually opens Thursday afternoon.
Yeah. And if you're really new and you haven't researched this yet, think of all of Bonnaroo as kind of like the solar system in your mind. So, like, when you go into Centeroo, it's like you're in the inner orbit. And then there's the outer orbit. That's the campgrounds. Does that make any sense?
It does, yes.
You got to go past, like, Earth or Mars or whatever to get into Centeroo. But out in the outside in the campgrounds, there's, like, less official stuff happening. There's not any big stages. There are some shows on, like, little tiny stages, like Where in the Woods. There's a cool little place. We'll talk about that some other time. But for the most part, it's mostly other Bonnaroovians putting on unofficial things. It's a great place to just wander around, get lost, and meet new friends. And that's really what's going to be going on a lot on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, let's talk about entry a little bit for people that are new. This year, it's supposed to be a lot quicker getting in. So, we'll be honest, some people have mentioned in the past it would take hours and hours and hours to get in. I talked to someone a year or two ago who mentioned that it took over 10 hours to get in.
Yeah, they said it took more than 10 hours. They said it took 12 hours.
But some changes have been made for this year, obviously with the daily entry thing, that should make that a lot easier. In fact, I talked to someone that works with Bonnaroo that says that if you come in before 8 p.m. on Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to be a breeze. They've been planning for this for about 2 years now because they were supposed to have had a better plan for Bonnaroo 2020, but nobody went to Bonnaroo 2020, so that wasn't a thing in practice just yet. But for the line, just in case, expect to be in line for a little while. You will be in your car. You can't really leave because you will be on the highway and stuff. So make sure that you gas up before you get in line. Somebody will probably have to inevitably pee while you're in line. I see people jump out of their car and go hide in the bushes all the time. Yeah. If you got to do it, you got to do it. But you can't just be partying on the side of the road, you know?
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, the pre-party is inside, not on the side of I-24.
No.
Yeah, so just be mindful of that. And when you do come to the gate, what will happen is they will scan your wristband, and somebody might go through your stuff.
They'll go through your car.
Through your car. They're just giving it a quick glance to make sure that you're not bringing in anything stupid. Sometimes when we have gone in the past, I have seen piles of the stupid things that they have taken away.
Yeah.
Like fireworks.
If you have an excessive amount of alcohol.
Yeah. I forget what the rule of thumb is, but I mean,
it's listed on the website.
Yeah, check the website. I want to say it's like no more than like 3 cases of beer a person or something like that, or I don't know. Don't take my word for that.
Don't look on the website.
Yeah, look on the website.
Don't listen to him.
Well, yeah, don't listen to me on that, but listen to me on this other stuff. Just don't bring anything dumb. Like swords are cool, but don't bring swords into Bonnaroo. Bonnaroo is not the place for swords.
We had a steak knife taken away once.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about it. I was just dumb. I brought in like a knife for like dinners and stuff. Yeah, that first year steaks. And they're like, you can't really have that. And I was like, oh yeah, I totally understand why. So just be smart. Don't bring anything dumb. you can't have campfires out in the campground. If they see anything that makes it obvious that you're going to do that, yeah, they'll take that from you. Just be smart. Don't bring any of that stuff in. Now, some people ask about this every year. It is possible that your car could get randomly, and I'm making the quotation marks with my fingers right now, randomly picked by the cops for a more thorough search. I have seen it happen. I have seen the cops pull people over at the gate and just tear everything out. Now, I say the word randomly like that because obviously if you got a certain look, they're going to take more notice. What do you think, Sharla?
Okay, the main rule of thumb is to, just be chill.
Yeah.
Act like you're going to your grandma's house.
Yes.
There's nothing to stress out about.
Yeah. That applies for the way there. I know we have a lot of people coming from like a long drive away. If you put like paint all over your windows, it says like Bonnaroo bound or whatever, yeah, you're probably making yourself a target for some cops outside of town.
The first year that we were going to Bonnaroo back in 2013, I saw at least 3 people pulled over on the way to Bonnaroo, and every single vehicle had Bonnaroo or Bus or Bonnaroo bound or Bonnaroo 2013 wrote all over their windows.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do that.
Just don't make it obvious that you're going to a giant music festival because, let's be honest. I'm not passing judgment either way, but if cops see that, they're far more likely to look at you and, just find anything that they can pull you over for, something hanging from the rearview mirror or a frame on your license tag. So make sure that your car is in tip-top shape before you leave, too. So I think you should be set. So I think that covers everything with entry, right? So for getting there, and then Tuesday and Wednesday this year. Anything else?
We covered it on an earlier podcast, but a couple of people have asked, how do I meet up with my friends if I want to camp next to them or park next to them or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
You will get separated. Like if you're coming in with someone, you will get separated in the line. They will put you to different toll booths. But there is a place right after you go through the toll booth to pull over so you can meet your friend.
Yeah, it's not so hard.
Yeah.
I've seen people do it all the time. It's not a big deal.
Now, what about if you want to meet somebody or if you want to camp next to somebody and you're coming at completely different times?
Well, for that, I feel like you really have to look into the group camping, and there are options like Camp Red Roo or Super Group where they'll pretty much allow anyone to sign up and be in their group. That might be one of the best avenues of doing that. Otherwise, you're just going to have to call each other up and figure out where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. You're really going to have to meet them and go in together. Otherwise, you're going to be parked in completely different areas.
There is kind of an unspoken, unwritten rule that you can move your campsite once you get into the campgrounds. I mean, they don't really make it blatant because everybody would be trying to do it or whatever. But if you get in and you find that you've got a sibling or a best friend on the other side of camp, you can kind of sort of do it.
Well, not always though, because there's going to be someone parked there. I mean, you can't just
put
somebody out.
You can't take somebody's space, but if you can find a way for wiggle room, it's usually okay.
But you can't always find it.
Yeah. So don't count on it. There's a possibility, but don't count on it. Okay, we could go on all day about this stuff. I wanted to get to the actual days of Bonnaroo.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is really targeted towards those people we talked about that haven't really gone before. Each day is a little different. We're going to start with Thursday. So Thursday is at the very top of the poster this year, of course. But Thursday is kind of like the warm-up day. There aren't any huge headliners. It's a lot of up-and-coming bands. I think if there is any headliner, it's the Grand Ole Opry. But we've talked about that in the past. They really need to kind of figure out a better way of doing that. I love the Opry, but the way that they do it at Bonnaroo is not.
I could go on.
Yeah, it's not great. The problem with the Opry on Thursday, it should be great. It should be Thursday's headliner. But it's made for radio. It's not made for the crowd at Bonnaroo.
I've been to the Opry in real life.
Yeah.
Like in person. Like, the real thing. Many, many, many times. So I'm a fan.
Yeah, I love it.
But not at Bonnaroo.
It's just not for Bonnaroo. Last time they had Catch Secor and the Old Crow Medicine Show crew do it, and they were fantastic. For the 20 minutes or so that they were on stage, it was great. Everything else was just putting everybody to sleep. It just didn't work. And I know they've mentioned this on the What podcast before. They really got to find a way to retool that. So while you will see that in big headlining font on Thursday, Unless you're just hardcore into it, it's probably worth going to something else that night. Hopefully they do change it. If they announce that they're making changes for it, I think I would go check it out. But if we don't hear anything, I'll probably skip it. One thing I am excited for on Thursday is the stuff that they do on the other. I personally feel like that's the best time for me to go check out the EDM.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
There's a lot of acts that I'm looking forward to playing on Thursday. And on Thursdays, they do tend to let them go really late. They didn't used to do that. Usually things didn't go super late on Thursdays. But the past couple of years, they just let them go at it on the other. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Did Closey play on Thursday when we saw her? Or did she play on Friday?
I can't remember.
I wonder why. No, I'm just joking. But Thursday is kind of like a getting pumped up kind of day. Everybody's fresh. Everything's new. Everybody's just super excited to be there.
Yeah.
One thing to keep in mind, though, is the big stages are not open on Thursday. The big ones are What and Which. Those are where you're going to see the headliners on the next couple of days. Those are closed. I mean, you can go there if you want, if you just want to hang out and get to an open spot with you and your friends just by yourself. But nothing's going to be playing there.
You can't go to the What stage on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now, we'll give you a tip. Sometimes the headliners are doing sound checks on Thursday night. Who did we see? We went over to the gate to the What stage, and we saw somebody sound checking one year.
Well, you can't see them, but you can hear them.
You can kind of sort of see them if you can peer around the corner there.
I heard lots of people.
I want to say we saw LCD Sound System early that way. Years ago in 2013, a lot of people saw Paul McCartney one night early. He was sound checking. He made up a song about Bonnaroo that night that wasn't even in his full set.
I never knew this.
Yeah, it's on video. They ran a promotional video years ago where him singing up this like made up Bonnaroo thing.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, Paul, why'd you know?
I missed this.
I don't know why he didn't play that for us for real at his real set. But anyway, that's worth checking out on Thursday too. All right, let's get to Friday and Saturday because those days are kind of the same. On those days, you are going to have the big, epic, gladiatorial headlining sets on What and Which. And the cool thing about Friday and Saturdays are the late nights. I feel like that's some of your favorite stuff, right, Sharla?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So Bonnaroo kind of turns into a whole different thing once the main headliner is done on Friday and Saturday nights. That's when the costumes come out, the weirdos come out, the vibe turns just... What would you call the vibe on Friday and Saturday late nights? It gets weird, but in an awesome way.
So when I first went to Bonnaroo, my very first year in 2013, I went to bed every night at 10.
Oh, my God.
Because I just didn't know. Just didn't know.
I went late one night after you went to bed and went back and saw Skrillex, and you were like barely awake when I came back. Yeah, why did you do that? I came back and I was like, I have seen things. It was so fun. I was in a Spider-Man costume that night. I went to that Skrillex show. It was so fun. But yeah, don't make Sharla's mistake. One piece of advice I will give you, if you are a little concerned about your energy level and making this marathon of a Bonnaroo, is pick a late night. If you want to go hard, if you want to go all night, pick either Friday or Saturday. Wait until the schedule comes out to see how it looks for you. But I think it's worth it to just like stay up until the sunrise one night, really go hard. We used to have Calliope, of course, where you could do that. Calliope. Where you can do that. But now they say that the other is going to be going all night, so hopefully that will be going until sunrise. I think they might be doing impromptu DJ sets. Hopefully. That's what they did over there before. But that's just me. If you feel like you can go all night on both of those nights, more power to you. But I personally pick one. And take a wild guess which night I'm going to be going hard this year. Yeah, it's going to be crazy, dude.
But then a lot of people say, this is the one time you got to go all out. So go both nights.
We haven't been to Bonnaroo and it's going to be over 2 years when we get back. So maybe it's time to get a lot of sleep beforehand, drink a lot of water beforehand, and go hard this whole time. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, well, my energy is going into that night with Tame and King Gizzard in my morning jacket. We'll see how I survive the next day. Friday and Saturday are kind of the same, but Sunday is a little different. Doesn't go super late that night. Headliner typically wraps up, about 10, 11, something like that, I want to say. Is that about right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
On Sundays?
Oh, on Sunday?
Yeah, on Sundays.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think so. And the lineup tends to be a little bit more chill on Sundays, I've noticed. They get a little bit more Americana tinge sometimes. Maybe not so much this year. Lana's playing on Sunday. I'm looking forward to how that's going to go. Tyler, the Creator, is playing on Sunday. That could get a little wild. Maybe I'm eating my words and I'm wrong, because also Deadmau5 is playing on Sunday, so that's going to get a little wild. Yeah. So maybe they have changed. Back in the day, like, our legacy headliner would play on Sunday nights.
Yeah.
So on that first one, we dumbly missed Tom Petty. He played on Sunday night. Didn't Elton John play on a Sunday? I want to say he did. Billy Joel did that one year. We skipped him. I heard that was worth skipping from what I've heard from other people. That's not really the case anymore. We used to get the legacy headliners on Sundays. I guess they've moved away from doing that on the schedule now. I kind of like to see them bring that back. Maybe it's tougher to book legacy headliners nowadays.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I will put that homework to Brad and Barry. Maybe they can help answer that question.
What happened to the legacy headliners?
Yeah, Barry, I know you're listening. Find out about that. I had also bugged Barry about this, and I don't mind saying it publicly here. I think a cool thing that I would love to learn more about is how the schedule gets made. They did a fantastic episode about how the lineup itself gets put together, how they book particular bands. I would really love to hear from the people at AC, Live Nation, wherever. How do they do the jigsaw puzzle of putting the schedule together? That's got to be some hard work, don't you think?
Yes. And if we're putting out questions, I would like to know what happened to the legacy headliners and when can we get Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band?
Oh my God. Are we putting in requests now?
Yes.
Well, I want to see an act that you took your parents to see last year. You want to tell them about that real quick?
Oh, well, that would be my number one, but I thought I had mentioned that so many times.
Put it in again. We got new listeners now.
Oh, okay. All-time number one legacy act for the farm would be Peter Frampton.
Yes. I would love to see him there. How was his show? You saw him. I didn't go to that show.
Wonderful.
Yeah. We get a lot of young people listen to this. He was the deal back in the late 70s.
Well, actually, let me back up.
Oh, okay.
Ask me again.
Okay, how was that Peter Frampton show?
It was exciting for a change.
Tell him why you say that.
So I took my parents for their 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
So my parents got together over a Peter Frampton tape.
Peter Frampton Comes Alive.
Yeah, over the Frampton Comes Alive tape that they played so much that they wore out. Supposedly I was conceived of Peter Frampton, and my birthday...
TMI.
My birthday is the same day as Peter Frampton's, April 22nd. I took my parents for their 40th anniversary to see Peter Frampton. And when we left, my dad said, well, that was exciting for a change.
Now, her dad never gets out, and apparently he loved this. He had the time of his life. It was at the Ascend Amphitheater in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
We saw Odessa there one year. And they had a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. All right. Give me your honest opinion. Would Peter Frampton do well at Bonnaroo as a legacy act?
As a legacy act, yeah. With, like, the legacy act, yeah. I mean, he could do that thing where he makes his guitar go, wah, 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 wah.
He makes his guitar talk.
Yeah.
Did he make his guitar talk?
Yes.
Oh, nice. I should have went with you to that show.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, I'm going to put in my vote for a legacy act. And I may get trashed for this, but I don't care. I would love to see Aerosmith on the farm.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Now, I understand that they have totally turned into a parody of themselves for the past, 15, 20 years. And Barry told me when we recorded something a while back, he's like, well, Daniel, they've always been a parody of themselves. But I don't care. I love ridiculous, old school, barn-burning rock and roll like that sometimes. And I feel like Aerosmith is one of the best examples of that. They haven't put out good music in almost 20 years now. But some of that old stuff, like the Toys in the Attic album, it burns the house down from start to finish. Yeah. And me and you saw them years ago. I think it was the first concert that you and I went to together. We saw them in Tupelo, Mississippi. And they were fantastic. They are still a fantastic live band, even though it's kind of ridiculous nowadays. I mean, they're basically cartoon characters. They were cartoon characters. They were into a video game or whatever. But before they're gone, I would love to see them at Bonnaroo. I think it would fit in really well.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
They used to have a lot of stuff like that. The first year that we went, ZZ Top was there.
Yeah, the first year we went, they had a lot of stuff like that.
Billy Idol has been there. Can you think of any others off the top of your head?
I'm like, they had so much stuff.
Yeah.
Thinking nothing.
No, I mean, we talked earlier. Okay, Elton John, Paul McCartney has been there. We've talked about Lionel Richie. He was a great act like that. He was huge in the 80s, you know.
Uh-huh.
I would love to
I'd
see
have
more
to look
bookings
at
like
the-
that.
yeah, I'd have to
Yeah.
look at the thing,
We don't
yeah.
really have that anymore. They had David Byrne play with St. Vincent one year. I think that was also in 2013. Wow, looking back, 2013 was an insane year.
2013 was.
Yeah. We've had other like Talking Heads things. Turquoise is playing
Mhm.
Talking Heads this year, but I mean that's cool, but it's still a cover. It'd be cool if you actually had David Byrne playing his stage show like he did a year or two ago. But yeah, I would love for them to see them bringing that back. I think there's still an appetite for it from a lot of people. I know there's a lot of younger people coming to Bonnaroo who may not know those legacy acts as well, but they can learn.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go on a quick tangent here before we wrap up.
All right,
I've got a
'cause
rant.
you got so far off the topic of this.
Okay,
podcast.
that's okay. We'll come back around in a minute. I have a bone to pick with a couple of people.
Who, me?
No, not you. Couple of years ago, one of the biggest rock bands of all time played Bonnaroo. I was just dumbstruck that they booked them. I planned everything out. I got in the pit for them. This band is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They have played a number of legendary shows. They've shared the stage with like Queen and David Bowie. And there is still a lot of talk on the Bonnaroo Reddit or like Loophole or InfoRoo where people are saying, why did they book U2? And I'm here to say, y'all are wrong. U2 is one of the biggest and best bands of all time.
They're one of the most famous bands
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah. Now, I know
Ever. In the history of time.
I know they have also, at times, been a parody of themselves.
Yeah.
They did some stuff in the late 90s that just did not work. And I know everybody hated getting that album on your phone a couple of years ago. That was dumb. I get that. And there's a funny joke about Bono sometimes. It was like, what's the difference between God and Bono?
Oh.
God doesn't think that he's Bono.
Oh, I've heard
Yeah,
that.
he can be preachy. I get that. But they're still one of the best bands of all time. And I don't understand why people are still down on them having played Bonnaroo. It was a great show. I really enjoyed it. Like, that was a privilege to be able to get in the pit for a band like that. I would have paid like $400 a ticket to be that close to them. That is like one of the best opportunities that you can get at a music festival. And I feel like that's one of the best things that Bonnaroo can give you. I would never have paid a large sum of money to see Kanye, but we saw him at 14, you know?
Yeah.
It was like, well, I'm here. He's here. I might as well. And it was a pretty good time. I mean, he ranted, but that's what you're going to get if you're going to go see Kanye. That's part of the show, I suppose. But I feel like the U2 thing and the blowback about that may have scared the bookers off from like booking big legacy acts.
Is it, you think?
Well, I don't know that. It's possible. But if I have like a vote, I would say, no, please keep booking the legacy headliners. I mean, it doesn't matter who you book. Somebody's going to not like it. That's the point of Bonnaroo. There's something for everybody. It's a big melting pot of literally any kind of music that you could want to listen to. And that's a big part of the fun of it, right?
True.
Yeah. So, yeah, I vote to bring back the legacy headliners. And I really, 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 really enjoyed U2. You did too, right?
I loved it.
Yeah, we were both in the pit. That was a fun time, man. All right, you're right. We did really stray, but I think we did cover kind of the main days of Bonnaroo. We talked a little bit about what to bring, what not to bring, what to expect.
We didn't talk about what not to. Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Don't bring in glass. Don't bring in your steak knife or
Don't
anything
bring
like
in your
that.
pets.
And last thing I will say about that, oh, well, as much as you would love to bring in your pet, but the last thing I will say is just don't overpack. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you feel like you're going to need to bring, and you just won't use it all once you get to Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
You don't want to have everything overcluttered and have too much to worry about, making a mess and everything. You will see so much junk left on Mondays. I mean, if we're really going through the full schedule, if you stick around on Monday morning, there will be so much stuff that people just leave, like nice things that they just bought. You can pick it up and take it home if you want. We brought home some nice ground scores that way. But it also goes to show that people are just bringing more than they need anyways. So, yeah, just don't overthink it. Don't overpack it. Any last advice, Sharla?
No, I think you summed it up well.
We summed it up?
Yeah.
All right, there's so much to talk about, but we wanted to just kind of hit on the high points for new people. Hope that we helped today. We still have less than 4 months to go, but it is going to get here before you know it. It is almost Memorial Day. We got some action happening on Memorial Day. It's going to be 4th of July before you know it. So be thinking now. What are the absolute necessities? Have you a little Bonnaroo pile that includes all that stuff? because it will be here before you know it. I hope so, right?
Right.
I'm so ready to get back. I feel like we went through a little lull there for about a month or so, like after the lineup settled in. Like there's not much happening in the Bonnaroo world right now, but we're really about to get into it. It won't be too long now until Bonnaroo starts announcing like what's going on in the plazas and extra stuff, and we should get the schedule. I would guess probably around the 4th of July weekend, something like that. Maybe sooner, maybe later. But yeah, we're in kind of like a little empty slot right now where nothing's really being announced and there's nothing going on. But that will change quick. So just keep a heads up for that.
Hey, Daniel.
Yeah.
You want to get out there and radiate positivity?
Let's do it. All right. We'll see you guys soon.